Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Bible in a Year live podcast project. I am Marsha, and today we'll be reading Jeremiah chapters 23 to 25, reading from the Message version. Let's dig in. Jeremiah 23, an authentic David branch. Doomed to the shepherd leaders who butcher and scatter my sheep. God's decree. So here is what I, God, Israel's God, say to the shepherd leaders who misled my people. You've scattered my sheep. You've driven them off. You haven't kept your eye on them. Well, let me tell you, I'm keeping my eye on you, keeping track of your criminal behavior. I'll take over and gather what's left of my sheep. Gather them in from all the lands where I've driven them. I'll bring them back where they belong, and they'll recover and flourish. I'll set shepherd leaders over them who will take good care of them. They won't live in fear or panic anymore. All the lost sheep rounded up, God's decree. Time's coming, God's decree, when I'll establish a truly righteous David branch, a ruler who knows how to rule justly. He'll make sure of justice and keep people united. In his time, Judah will be secure again and Israel will live in safety. This is the name they'll give him, God who puts everything right. So watch for this. The time's coming, God's decree, when no one will say, as sure as God lives, the God who brought the Israelites out of Egypt, but as sure as God lives, the God who brought the descendants of Israel back from the north country and from the other countries where he'd driven them, so that they can live on their own good earth. The everything will turn out fine sermon. My head is reeling, my limbs are limp, I'm staggering like a drunk, seeing double from too much wine. And all because of God, because of his holy words. Now for what God says regarding the lying prophets. Can you believe it? A country teeming with adulterers, faithless, promiscuous, adulterers. They're a curse on the land. The land's a wasteland. Their unfaithfulness is turning the country into a cesspool. Prophets and priests devoted to desecration. They have nothing to do with me as their God. My very own temple, mind you, mud spattered with their crimes. God's decree. But they won't get by with it. They'll find themselves on a slippery slope, careening into the darkness, somersaulting into the pitch black dark. I'll make them pay for their crimes. It will be the year of doom. God's decree. Over in Samaria, I saw prophets acting like silly fools. Shocking. They breached using that no God BIAYL for a text, messing with the minds of my people. And the Jerusalem prophets are even worse, horrible, sex-driven, living a lie, subsidizing a culture of wickedness and never giving it a second thought. They're as bad as those wretches in old Sodom, the degenerates of old Gomorrah. So here's a message to the prophets from God of the angel armies. I'll cook them a supper of maggoty meat with after-dinner drinks of strychnine. The Jerusalem prophets are behind all this. They're the cause of this godlessness polluting this country. A message from God of the angel armies. Don't listen to the sermons of the prophets. It's all hot air. Lies, lies, and more lies. They make it all up. Not a word they speak comes from me. They preach their everything will turn out fine sermon to congregations with no taste for God. Their nothing bad will ever happen to you sermon to people who are set in their own ways. Have any of these prophets bothered to meet with me, the true God? Bothered to take in what I have to say, listen to, and then lived out my word? Look out. God's hurricane will be let loose. My hurricane blast, spinning the heads of the wicked like tops. God's raging anger won't let up until I've made a clean sweep, completing the job I began. When the job's done, you'll see that it's been well done. Quit the God told me this kind of talk. I've never sent these prophets, but they ran anyway. I never spoke to them, but they preached away. If they'd have bothered to sit down and meet with me, they'd have preached my message to my people. They'd have gotten them back on the right track, gotten them out of their evil ruts. Am I not a God near at hand? God's decree. and not a God far off? Can anyone hide out in a corner where I can't see him? God's decree. Am I not present everywhere, whether seen or unseen? God's decree. I know what they're saying. All these prophets who preach lies using me as their text, saying, I had this dream, I had this dream. How long do I have to put up with this? Do these prophets give 2 cents about me as they preach their lies and spew out their grandiose delusions? They swap dreams with one another, feed on each other's delusive dreams, trying to distract my people from me, just as their ancestors were distracted by the no good BIAYL. You prophets who do nothing but dream, go ahead and tell your silly dreams. But you prophets who have a message from me, tell it truly and faithfully. What does straw have in common with wheat? Nothing else is like God's decree. Isn't my message like fire? God's decree. Isn't it like a sledgehammer busting a rock? I've had it with the prophets who get all their sermons secondhand from each other. Yes, I've had it with them. They make up stuff and then pretend it's a real sermon. Oh, yes, I've had it with the prophets who preach the lies they dream up, spreading them all over the country, ruining the lives of my people with their cheap and reckless lies. I never sent these prophets, never authorized a single one of them. They do nothing for this people, nothing, God's decree. And anyone, including prophets and priests, who asks, what's God got to say about all this? What's troubling him? Tell him, you're the trouble, and I'm getting rid of you, God's decree. And if anyone, including prophets and priests, goes around saying glibly, God's message, I'll punish him and his family. Instead of claiming to know what God says, ask questions of one another, such as, how do we understand God in this? But don't go around pretending to know it all, saying, God told me this, God told me that. I don't want to hear it anymore. Only the person I authorize speaks for me. Otherwise, my message gets twisted, the message of the living God of the angel armies. You can ask the prophets, how did God answer you? What did he tell you? But don't pretend that you know all the answers yourselves and talk like you know it all. I'm telling you, quit the God told me this, God told me that kind of talk. Are you paying attention? You'd better, because I'm about to take you in hand and throw you to the ground. You and this entire city that I gave to your ancestors. I've had it with a lot of you. You're never going to live this down. You're going down in history as a disgrace. Jeremiah 24. 2 baskets of figs. God showed me 2 baskets of figs placed in front of the temple of God. This was after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had taken Jehoiakim, son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, from Jerusalem into exile in Babylon, along with the leaders of Judah, the craftsmen, and the skilled laborers. In one basket, the figs were of the finest quality, ripe and ready to eat. In the other basket, the figs were rotten, so rotten they couldn't be eaten. God said to me, Jeremiah, what do you see? Figs, I said. Excellent figs of the finest quality, and also rotten figs, so rotten they can't be eaten. Then God told me, this is a message from the God of Israel. The exiles from here that I've sent off to the land of the Babylonians are like the good figs, and I'll make sure they get good treatment. I'll keep my eye on them so that their lives are good. I'll bring them back to this land. I'll build them up, not tear them down. I'll plant them, not uproot them. And I'll give them a heart to know me, God. They'll be my people, and I'll be their God, for they'll have returned to me with all their hearts. But like the rotten figs, so rotten they can be eaten, is Zedekiah, king of Judah. Rotten figs. That's how I'll treat them and his leaders, along with the survivors here and those down in Egypt. I'll make them something that the whole world will look on as disgusting, repugnant outcasts, their names used as curse words wherever in the world I drive them. And I'll make sure they die like flies from war, starvation, disease, whatever, until the land I once gave to them and their ancestors is completely rid of them. Jeremiah 25. Don't follow the God fads of the day. This is the message given to Jeremiah for all the people of Judah. It came in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, king of Judah. It was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Jeremiah the prophet delivered the message to all the people of Judah and citizens of Jerusalem. From the 13th year of Josiah, son of Ammon, king of Judah, right up to the present day, 23 years it's been. God's word has come to me, and from early each morning to late every night, I pass it on to you, and you haven't listened to a word of it. Not only that, but God also sent a steady stream of prophets to you who were just as persistent as me, and you never listened. They told you, turn back right now, each one of you, from your evil way of life and bad behavior, and live in the land God gave you and your ancestors, the land He intended to give you forever. Don't follow the God fads of the day, taking up and worshiping these no gods. Don't make me angry with your God businesses, making and selling gods, a dangerous business. You refuse to listen to any of this, and now I'm really angry. These God making businesses of yours are a doom. The verdict of the God of the angel armies on all this. Because you have refused to listen to what I've said, I'm stepping in. I'm sending for the armies out of the north, headed by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, my servant in this, and I'm setting them on this land and people and even the surrounding countries. I'm devoting the whole works to total destruction, a horror to top all the horrors in history. And I'll banish every sound of joy, singing, laughter, marriage festivities, genial workmen, candlelit suppers. The whole landscape will be one vast wasteland. These countries will be in subjection to the king of Babylon for 70 years. Once the 70 years is up, I'll punish the king of Babylon and the whole nation of Babylon for their sin. Then they'll be the wasteland. Everything that I said I'd do to that country, I'll do. Everything that's written in this book, everything Jeremiah preached against all the godless nations. Many nations and great kings will make slaves of the Babylonians, paying them back for everything they've done to others. They won't get by with anything. God's decree. God puts the human race on trial. This is the message that the God of Israel gave me. Take this cup filled with the wine of my wrath that I'm handing to you. Make all the nations where I send you drink it down. They'll drink it and get drunk, staggering in delirium because of the killing that I'm going to unleash among them. I took the cup from God's hand and made them drink it, all the nations to which He sent me. Jerusalem and the towns of Judah, along with their kings and leaders, turning them into a vast wasteland, a horror to look at, a cuss word, which in fact they now are. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, with his attendants and leaders, plus all his people, and the melting pot of foreigners collected there. All the kings of Uz, all the kings of the Philistines, from Ashkelon, Gaza, Ekron, and what's left of Ashdod, Edom, Moab, and the Ammonites, all the kings of Tyre, Sidon, and the coastlands across the sea, Dedan, Tema, Buz, and the nomads on the fringe of the desert, all the kings of Arabia, and the various Bedouin sheiks and chieftains wandering about in the desert, all the kings of Zimri, Elam, and the Medes, all the kings from the north countries near and far, one by one, all the kingdoms on planet Earth. And the king of Sheshak, that is Babylon, will be the last to drink. Tell them, these are the orders from God of the angel armies, the God of Israel. Drink and get drunk and vomit. Fall on your faces and don't get up again. You're slated for a massacre. If any of them refuse to take the cup from you and drink it, say to them, God of the angel armies has ordered you to drink, so drink. Prepare for the worst. I'm starting off the catastrophe in the city that I claim as my own. So don't think you're going to get out of it. No, you're not going to get out of anything. It's a sword and nothing but the sword against everyone, everywhere. The God of the angel armies decree. Preach it all, Jeremiah. Preach the entire message to them. Say, God roars like a lion from high heaven. Thunder rolls out from his holy dwelling. Air-splitting bellows against his people, shouting hurrahs like workers in harvest. The noise reverberates all over the earth. Everyone everywhere hears it. God makes his case against the godless nations. He's about to put the human race on trial. For the wicked, the verdict is clear-cut, death by the sword. God's decree. A message from God of the angel armies. Prepare for the worst, doomsday, disasters spreading from nation to nation. A huge storm is about to rage all across planet Earth. Laid end to end, those killed in God's judgment that day will stretch from one end of the earth to the other. No tears will be shed and no burials conducted. The bodies will be left where they fall, like so much horse dung fertilizing the fields. Wail, shepherds, cry out for help, grovel in the dirt, you masses of flocks. Time's up. You're slated for the slaughterhouse, like a choice ram with his throat cut. There's no way out for the rulers, no escape for their shepherds. Hear that? Rulers crying for help, shepherds of the flock wailing. God is about to ravage their fine pastures. The peaceful sheepfolds will be silent with death, silenced by God's deadly anger. God will come out into the open like a lion leaping from its cover, and the country will be torn to pieces, ripped and ravaged by his anger. Wow. Here ends the reading.